All right. Also, living in this time is learning to understand our adolescence. And today we're talking about preparing your adolescence for future. Now, this is going to run for some time, but I will be laying the background for what we'll be talking about in the next few weeks today. Okay? Because when we are talking about preparing our adolescents for the future, we're looking at a whole range of activities, a whole range of concepts, a whole range of themes that their lives fall under in this period as adolescents. And we know, I mean, if you have a kid, you must have gone through one of these phases with them. Now, this period of adolescence is a period of growth into maturity. Now, this period of their lives, if you do not take it like a big assignment, you may miss out something very important for them, and they also may miss out on learning life skills that will help them, that will take them to the very next levels of their lives. And so, this period, adolescence, begins at puberty. And at puberty, this is a state of growth, sport, and sexual maturation. This is when there are different changes in the physical aspects of their growth. All right, so the child gets taller, the boys begin to develop in different ways. Their sexual organs become ready for adulthood. This is where it all begins. And so you see different changes for the girls, different changes for the boys. And at this time, if there is none of the obvious changes that should be taking place in any of your teen boy or teen girl at the adolescent boy or girl at that time, you should look into it. All right. This is not the time you say, oh, don't worry, or you neglect some things. No, you become careful, you become observant, you watch and see that all of these basic things that should be happening to them at this period happens. Now, for some of them, it may come late, especially when it comes to menstruation for the girls. It may come later than other people. Just watch it, all right? Do not panic, but just keep an eye out. I know that some parents who don't bother about that. They don't even know when their girl child, starts menstruating. They don't even teach them how to take care of themselves during this period. And so sometimes some people just get lucky and they go through this period. Some others don't. Do you know there are some cases of infertility that can be traced back to the girl's menstrual cycle? And some of these things, if you do not take note of it as a young child and deal with it, it may affect her in the future. So at this time or any other developmental stages, you should always make sure that your child develops according to the age, according to the stages. If there is any delay, you may want to seek medical help. And if they say there's no problem, he or she's just a late bloomer, then you can leave them. Or if they say there's a problem, you can always deal with it at that time. And then also, you get to this point, um, this adolescent period, the time of physical, sexual, emotional, intellectual, and social change. Now, this is when a young person moves from depending on their parents and the protective confines of their parents' house, the parents' care, the parents always been there. This period of their life, they move from this period to becoming independent, to becoming dependent, depend on themselves, learn to take care of themselves, and also begin to share some of the things that they have learned from being under their parents' care in the bigger world where they have seen themselves. And this period of adolescence, this period where it starts from 14 to the middle adolescence, from 14 to about 18. This is the cocoa of development for young people. All right. And so this is the time where you get card, me, because a whole lot of things they will be exposed to, a lot of things that will be happening to them, a whole lot of things that they would want to learn. And this is the time you also have to be aware of all these things happening to them and help them. Many times, parents just leave teenagers to just grow anyhow they want to grow. We do not take care to say, this is the limit you can go, or this is how you can live, or this is what, at this point, this is what it means, and this is what you should expect, and this is how you can avoid these problems. That is basically what we do here, to talk about these things that will surely happen and give you information that will help you, prepare you before time. I always say whenever a child cries, most of the times, whatever it is that has made the child cry has already happened. Except for when the child is hungry, when the child wants something, wants to be changed and all that. But most of the time, when a child cries, there was a time I worked in a daycare and I used to tell my colleagues, look, before the child cries, that something has already gone wrong, especially when they are playing with other friends. So you have to have eyes every corner, front, back, side. You have to be fully aware of the environment you are in. And so that's what we are trying to do with the adolescents. Give them eyes everywhere. Where if it's a case of sexual, we give them eyes, physical, intellectual, social, spiritual. We give you eyes so that you can be aware of what can happen to you, what you can face at this time, and fully prepare yourself. Okay? And so you come to this adolescent, middle adolescent, where can also be a reflective time for teenagers, spiritually. Some of them, they tend to start thinking about values. They tend to start thinking about their lives, and it's a very fast time. Before you know it, that period of their life has passed. In fact, they don't get prepared for that period enough. And while they're still trying to balance themselves, the time will pass. And so it's something we need to work with as in audio. So we have to follow it. No kono. You may seem like, this child is still growing. I have time. But before you know it, the child has already grown past that stage. And so everything that you don't teach that child, there's every danger the child will learn it outside, or the child will just not learn it at all. Okay, and we do not want that. And so this period, this middle adolescent, which is usually from 14 to 18, has its own fantastic, unique characteristics. Okay, and if a child doesn't properly go through this period, like I already said, it may affect the child growing up. It may affect other things about the child. And so there some of the things that you should know about your adolescent, who is this middle adolescent that you have in your house, who's probably between 14 and 18. Some of the things they exhibit at this time, it's not them trying to prove stubborn to you. It's not them trying to be wayward, all right? They're just living out this period of their lives, but they need guidance so that it wouldn't seem as if they want to be wayward or they just want to prove stubborn to you. And so this period, you don't actually get much of physical changes because most of the physical changes that will happen to them had already started in the puberty stage. Now, this time, they're just a little physical changes. Some of them, they'll just improve on what has already happened to them physically. Now, this is a time of adapting to new identity. For some of these people, because now you have moved to being a child, to being on the way to adulthood. I don't want to say you're now fully an adult, but now you are living in an adult body, sort of, because your body has developed to take on adult responsibilities sexually and physically. You're stronger now, all right? Your body is preparing for adulthood. For the girls, their bodies are preparing for motherhood. For the boys, their bodies are preparing for fatherhood. And if they're not properly trained at this time, if they're not properly guided, they can start becoming fathers and mothers before time. Okay, so this period is just a period of training. They are ready now. They need to learn what to do for the next stage of their lives, which takes place from the 18s, late 10s to the early 20s, the young adults. And so this time, you find a case of identity, all right? You find some of the teenagers battling with who they are, all right, so we are here now. So what should I do? So this time they see lots of people, lots of things, even friends, doing different things, being different people. They are more exposed to individuals around them. And so they have this, who should I follow? What should I do? Because there are lots of people screaming at them, follow me, follow me. And so if it's about when you come to celebrities, some of them want to be like some celebrities because this is where their interest is going towards. Some of them, they just want to, they are fashionable. They think they want to follow who they think is, this is a fashion thing now. And so they want to go in this direction. Some of them are just confused. They don't know what to do. They go here today, they go there tomorrow. This case of identity, who you are, this is time you have to let them, help them understand what they want to be in life, who they are, what they can be, who they can be. So it's something that it's even ongoing. In the case of identity, it doesn't stop there, but it starts there, and that is where we have to help them. All right, we have to help them understand what is happening to them, so that they cannot uh, use what is already happening to their bodies in the wrong direction. And then you come to pair. This is where you have issues with peer influence, peer pressure, because they now have friends. They're trying to break away from parental influences. And of course, life does not allow for vacuum. So if they do not, they don't want parents to influence them that much again, they will look to friends to influence them. They will look to what other people are doing to influence them. And so if the child doesn't have a good identity of who he or she is, the child can easily be moved by peer influences, or peer pressure. If a child does not have at least some identity, you may not know it all, because even, you can become this person today, and when you expose yourself more to information and experience, you want to become another kind of person. But at least the child should have the basics, so that the child can be able to stand on that foundation and help him or her to overcome peer influences. Remember, peer influences can be positive or negative. Okay, so when we talk about peer pressure, it's not just about the wrong things, just that we focus more on the wrong things that happen to people, and forgetting that there are also peers who can influence positively, all right, depending on who the circle the child is in, and also the environment and who the child moves with. So it's also important when you're telling your child about identity, to also tell the child that it's also important for them to make good friends. If they know who they are, then it will guide the kind of friends they will make. That way, there will be minimal negative pressure. All right? Minimal. They can still come, but then it will be minimal. And so, because this time you find teenagers, their lives basically, if you leave them now, is just to have fun, play games, go out with friends, do whatever it is that gives them pleasure. But we should not just leave them to do that, all right? Because at this time also, other things become important to them, or other things present themselves to them. And then it's left for the child to choose what he or she should take as important. Here you see sex, you see some of them indulging in drug abuse. You also see some of them indulging in too much technology. You find some of them getting interested in just wanting to drive. You see, find some teenagers, once they get to this age, this middle adolescent, they have this desire to drive. If you have, the parents have cars, if you adventure, leave your car key anywhere, the child will take the car, they want to go and let, they are interested now. All right. The other day, my boy was telling me his bike. I said, na bike you want, Sabi? I said, okay, there's no problem. Need to go the first now. And I don't have a bike. He has not been exposed to anybody that has a bike in the family. His father doesn't have a bike. So you may not think, so what is it? Influence, all right? Exposure, experience, because they are now growing up and they are looking at other people. The media is also there. And so they are also forming their own kind of interest. What interests them may not be what interests me. Sometimes I wonder, okay, what is like, what do you think about? Yes, you're an adult now, and so you may be seeing it like what they're thinking about doesn't make sense. Well, we all went through that period, just that. So the thing is for us to understand that these things are going to happen. They will come up with their own personal interest, different from what you are even planning for them. You now have to know how to guide them, so that it won't be as if you're totally not understanding them, or you're just outrightly denying them. So even when you have to deny a certain desire that will give them pleasure, they can understand, this is why I am denying you this particular thing. And one thing that we also know, we should know about this middle adolescents, is that they crave for attention, they crave for love, all right? They crave for, they want people to like them, they want to be involved, they want to be noticed. And so you, as an adult, as a parent, as a teacher, should know that you should give them adequate attention. It's not like any of the developmental stages should lack any, but you see, at this time, it's easy for someone for them to be derailed. And so you don't want that. And you don't want it to seem as if the only thing you want about them is just for them to grow up well and you don't care, you don't like them, you don't give them attention. You try. Okay, you should try and give them attention, be with them, understand what they want, understand what they like. Sometimes try to at least show interest in some of the movies they like, even if you don't understand it, you know. Because the thing is, if you start getting involved in what they like, what they listen to, it will help you know where your teenager is at, all right, where their interest is at. And so, if it's something you know will not help them, by listening to what they listen to, by watching what they watch, you can now use that as a level of communication, as a means of communicating. You can now use that to say, you see this particular thing. It can be a teachable moment. I always say there are many teachable moments around us with the children as long as we listen to them. Okay, so I think basically this is what you should understand about this middle adolescents, because they are the ones we are going to be focusing on for this few weeks. Like I said, preparing them for their future is going to take some time because we're going to look at different aspects, different concepts that are involved in their future, in talking to them, in talking about them, in raising them, all right? Because this will form the teenager. This will form who they will become as adults. And so when we properly guide them, it will help, especially this period where we have adolescents who are about to enter into another phase of their life. You have those who are about to leave university. You have those who are about to enter the university. You have those who are about to enter secondary school. These are developmental stages they are about to go to. And these developmental stages will have a lot of influence on their lives. Okay. And so you prepare your child, I prepare my child, another person prepares his or her child. And when they come together, we're going to have the kind of society that we want. Society where people will look out for other people and not where we'll have bullies, not where we'll have children who are not properly helped and all of that. Okay, my time is almost up, but then you may have a question to ask, all right, about your adolescent, this middle age, some of these things that we have brought up. You may have a question. My phone line is open. You can call before I leave in the next 5-10 minutes. You can call 08143577399. If you are a teenager, this middle adolescent can also call you a teenager. If you are in that phase, or you are about to, or you have a child who is in that phase, but there's something about them that you don't understand, something that you're trying so hard to control, whether it be with technology, whether it be with friends, as related to either some of the things I have already talked about. You can call me on 08143577399. And I know that sometimes you may have issues you want to talk about after the program. I am also there to talk with you, especially if you are a teenager and you are involved in any relationship that you're not supposed to be involved in any sexual relationship that you're not supposed to be in. You can call me. Let me take this call. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon. You're welcome. Your name and where you're calling us from? Okay, I did not get your name, please. All right, Collins. Okay, all right, go ahead. Hello, I can hear you. Okay, all right, go ahead. Okay, okay. Mm, all right. Okay, is there a particular aspect that you want to know how they will cope with you in, or general? All right. All right, thank you so much. Let me just answer you on the general terms. Thank you. All right. All right, thank you so much. He asked a question. He said, as a teenager who is living with foster parents, how would you cope with them and how would they cope with you? Now, that's a big topic for another day, but I'll quickly help you here. All right. Now, if you are living with people who are not your parents, first of all, you will have to check when did you start living with them. If you start living with them after some, now that you are a teenager, one thing you will know is that these people will have to learn how you operate. And you also have to learn how they operate because you have not been with them for a long time, for a while. Okay, so if you just start living with people as foster parents, you have to relax and understand the new environment because you have not been with them before. They didn't give birth to you, all right? And you have not been with them as a child. Now, assuming you have been with these people as a child, that's a different thing. You grew up knowing them, they grew up knowing you. And now that you are not now an adolescent, it will be easy. You would have known yourselves. But if you just start living with them, I would advise that you relax and understand them. And then also, they also need to relax and understand you. They also need to know that you can't be their child, but you can't exhibit qualities and maybe either of their child is exhibiting because you are different. You're coming from a different place. So the first thing is to relax, have an open mind, all right, so that you can learn about them and do not take everything they do as they don't like you or as they're out to deny you of your rights. Or if I was in my parents' house or in the other place where I was, I had freedom. I used to do this. No. And now when they're saying you can't use a phone or you can't go out late or you can't bring your friends here, that is the way they want to operate. And then you need to understand that that's how they are operating. So there are so many different things that can be happening, but you need to relax. All right. First of all, you need where to stay. You need a home, and they are foster parents, and parents are meant to raise us. Now, it becomes an issue if there's any form of abuse. All right. That's why I asked, is there any particular aspect of living with them that you want us to talk about? If it's abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, financial abuse, domestic abuse, then you have to report that one. You have to tell somebody. But if it is not an abuse, if it's just the proper training, discipline, you have to open your mind and receive it from them. And they also need to relax and also understand you living with them and know this is a different person. We need to relate with this person. We need to understand this person so that we can be better. And I hope I answered you. But just in case, if you have other things you want us to talk about in relation to living with your foster parents, you can send me a text message after the program and we'll talk more about that. You can send a text message to 070 3006 6030. 070 3006 6030. That you have to just send a text message to that if you want us to talk more about that. And so if you still want to call us and ask any question regarding what we're talking about, adolescents, we want to prepare the adolescents for their future, but we need to understand them. All right. That was why I took time to let us know the characteristics of this people we call middle adolescents or teenagers, actually between the 14 and 18 years. We have to focus on you a lot because lots of things are happening and we do not want you to fall into any trap or into any lifestyle that you cannot defend. Okay, so you can still ask a question right now. 081 4357 7399. 081 4357 7399. And so before we go, if you are a teenager and you are involved in any lifestyle that is detrimental to you, be it sexual, be it physical, be it anything emotional, you are involved in any lifestyle that is not helping you, or things are happening to you that are not in your favor, and you know that, we can talk about it and find a way to get you help. All right. You just need to send a text message after the program to 0703 006 6030. 0703 006 6030. And if you're also a teacher, you are a youth leader, and you want us to talk about things concerning our teenagers. You want to come here, so there's something that will help us. You can let me know, and let us do this together. I also love giveaways, and so because we're talking to teenagers, there are teenagers who may need help. All right, in different ways, maybe in their academics or financial or health wise, and there's something you want to give to teenagers. Let's do this together. Let us use this as a medium for you to do that. I love to do giveaways. All right. And so you can also call me on that. Let us talk. You want to sponsor, you want to advertise your product here. You can let us talk about it by still sending a text message to 0703 006 6030. All we are here to do is to make life easier for everybody, our teenagers, inclusive. Okay, so next time when we come here, we'll talk more. Like I already said, there are different concepts. I want to talk about preparing teenagers. We're looking at the physical, we're looking at the sexual, we're looking at even drugs abuse, drug and drug abuse, and bullying, cyber. Well, when we get into the cyber world, you will be amazed. And I hope you do not, just make sure you stay with us, because there are lots of us talk about when it comes to cyber. We may even skip, some other things and bring up cyber first, because so many things are happening in the cyber world that you, as a parent, need to understand. And also, you, the teenager, you also need to understand. We need to keep you safe everywhere. All right. And before then, if you have any question, you can still call me. You can still go to our Facebook page at the live class and send me something you want us to talk about, you want us to discuss here. I'm ready to do that with you. And you can just go to our Facebook page at the live class and send me a message, or you can still use the number I have called and send a text message. Let us get this right together. Lots of things are happening, but no one should be left behind. And here we are changing the world one teenager at a time. Thank you so much for joining me today on live class. Usually live class used to come by 2:30, but now live class come your way every Monday immediately after the Divine Mercy Prayer at 3 o'clock till about this time. Let us work together to help our teenagers. Until I come your way again next week, Monday, be safe, do the right things, be in the right company, make the right decisions, and your life will thank you. Your future life will thank you. God bless you all.